So the clock is ticking to say goodbye to 2016, and this is Business Incorporated. Welcome to the program. I am Bosun Amofaye. Coming up, the Zambian Kwacha and the South African Rand ranked the best performing currencies on the African continent in the outgoing year. Meantime, manufacturing on the African continent was hit hard, but emerging economies are making efforts to diversify and grow home industries. Plus, Stanbic IBTC Holdings and Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria resolve the lingering dispute over the lenders' 2015 financial statements. Let's get started. Right from that story, Stanbic IBTC and Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria have resolved nearly 2 years' dispute over the lenders' 2015 financial statements. In a press release to the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Stanbic IBTC explains that the resolution has authorized its external auditors, that is the FRC, KPMG Professional Services, to sign the audited financial statements. The development which led to the release of the earnings has also seen the lifting of FRC suspension on the chairman, Atado Peterside, and the chief executive, Shola David Broha, enabling them to sign the audited financial statements. Both individuals were previously barred by the Financial Reporting Council. So it's the final trading day for 2016. Global markets here on the African continent, trading is a little bit mixed. In Egypt, the market was up 0.75% on Thursday, but closed for today, bringing Egypt's year-to-date to a spectacular best on the African continent, 76%. The market took off after the central bank floated the Egyptian pound on November the 3rd. Look at the numbers now, bringing them quickly on your TV screen. Nigeria's stock market closed already for the day down 0.14%, 26,720, while the South African GSE, I beg your pardon, 542, off track 0.28%. Kenya stock market, you see the Thursday closed 0.13%, 131.30. Okay, let's go through Europe and find out how the market is trading for today. Ulrich Bat is the DWTV financial correspondent for Channels Television and is joining us live now via Skype. Ulrich, thank you very much for coming through. Talk to us, what are the high points for 2016 from the Frankfurt Stock Exchange?
Well, you know, looking at the graph behind me, the DAX on the big board here in Frankfurt, it doesn't seem to be doing much. It's just sort of treading water here on the last trading day. But I think that's one of the high points for this year. Certainly, it's over 11,000 points, and it's made a gain for the year after a spectacular year with lots of turbulence. It was basically a ride up and down, just like on a roller coaster. Starting with shock over China, worries about the oil industry, worries about the banks. Then the Brexit vote came in the UK, and finally Donald Trump elected U.S. President in the United States. And that's still not the whole agenda for this turbulent year. Worry over Italian banks and Italy being in the euro, sort of completing the picture of this very political year in the stock market. And I think the people trading here still for the next hour until the session closes here early for the day are just glad that it's over, and they're glad that after all these politically shocking events that the share prices have recovered, and of course Wall Street reaching new record highs as well.
A very interesting close to the what's been referred to as a troubled year. Some say it's been a tumultuous year around the world for investors and everyone. But if you look at your markets, Ulrich, who are the top best and top worst performing sectors and companies in the outgoing year? I'm sure you're going to mention the energy stocks, the aviation. Talk to us on that.
Yeah, the energy stocks were under pressure, and here in Germany, for example, Adidas, a sporting goods manufacturer, was the best stock of the year. The Deutsche Bank, one of the worst stocks, and banks across Europe having a very bad year with low interest rates and lots of crises undermining confidence of investors in the banking sector. A good sector for this year, surprisingly, was the steel industry. Basically, major manufacturers here in Germany, but also ArcelorMittal, the world's largest steel maker, making a great recovery on steel prices. going up, and of course the oil industry also profiting, at least in part, from the recovery of the oil price. One should mention, though, that the DAX, in contrast to the Dow, did not make a record high this year, but the mid-cap index, the MDAX for Germany, that did make a record high, and some shares there jumped between 50 and 90%.
Well, Ulrika, okay, finally, what does the crossover into a new year looks like in Frankfurt? Talk to us on that, and how does the comeback in January also looks like for traders and for those of you who are financial journalists there at the German DAX for DW? What will you folks be doing when the market closes early? Nigeria is already closed at 12:30 local time. You guys looks like going to do about another hour and a half more than Nigerian boss. What does it look like there? Talk to us.
Yeah, 2017 looks to be like another very interesting year, perhaps a shocking one. There will be elections in Germany, in France, in the Netherlands, perhaps in Italy. So people are saying it will be another political year, possibly one to match or supersede 2016 in that way. Certainly developments to watch will be the Brexit, anything coming out on how this pulling back from the EU will develop, what that will mean for everyone concerned, will be one of the imperative things to watch. And of course, Donald Trump, what will he do as president? And the focus there is not only on the economic policy, but also on the political policy, on his stance towards the EU, towards China, Russia, towards NATO. That will also play a role in how the financial markets develop, and that will also be our focus here for DW and for other journalists I take to in Frankfurt to see how closely politics and economics and financial markets will be interwoven in 2017.
Thank you very much, Ulrich. And, well, see you in 2017. Bye for now. Do have a great day, and the rest of the DW TV team for Channels Television out of the Frankfurt Stock Exchange. Thank you, everyone, for 2016. We appreciate being part of the global marketplace and the partnership between Channels Television and DW TV. Okay, it's been a very quiet morning so far as the futures, stocks futures are concerned on Wall Street. Looking at the Dow Jones now around 19,834, the Nasdaq about 5,432, the S&P 500 of course above 2,000. Looks like a very quiet morning, as it were, the final trading day for Wall Street, the world's largest market. However, it's been a truly historic year in the U.S. You heard about part of the stories there, the election of Donald Trump as the next president of the United States was one of the biggest story for the year for United States, but in particular, the campaign trail, the Republicans defeating the Democrats there. That will be part of the talking points moving into the new year. So let's get some views to wrap up the 2016 trading year from Wall Street with Jill Malandrino. She's live there to us from Times Square at the Nasdaq markets. Okay, that's the VOA newsroom there. Channels TV business correspondent there via Skype from New York. Thank you very much, Jill. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
What a year 2016 has been. On the February 11th low, the S&P was lower by 14%. That was the worst markets have performed to kick off a new year in history. Since then, we've had a massive turnaround. The S&P is up about 6% since the election, up 11% for the year, while the NASDAQ has gained about 10%. The Dow, ever flirting with 20,000, is up about 9% since the election, and that brings its year-to-date gain to 14.5%, and it is coming off its 7th straight weekly gain.
Well, if you look at the beginning of 2016 and to try to place that side by side with 2017, of course, you remember elections, the campaign trail, were the opening sequence of the opening bell of 2016. The elections are over. The swearing in of Donald Trump as the next president is in about 3 weeks from now. So, talk to us. Are we expecting the same type of performance?
Well, trade has been thin, and we have seen some selling over the past couple of days, which is typical at the end of the year. And I would expect that we will see some selling in January as investors have been waiting to take gains in 2017 because of President-elect Trump's anticipated tax cuts. Recall, stocks have enjoyed what we call the Trump bump since the presidential election on bets that he would introduce those tax cuts. deregulation and higher infrastructure spending, and that would spur economic growth. So the first 100 days of his presidency will be a show-me period, and we could see some volatility around that since campaign rhetoric and what's actually put to practice are two very different things. That said, there could be some great trading opportunities for day and swing traders, as well as good entry points for longer-term investors looking to put fresh money to work.
Jill, is the market taking a short-term outlook on Donald Trump or a long-term look on the economy and stocks, looking at what we already know about the character of the incoming president, perhaps what the character of the new administration will look like?
Well, a pickup in earnings growth, stable valuations, and mid to late cycle growth should lead the continuation of the soon-to-be 8-year bull market and likely lead to mid-single-digit equity returns in 2017. I also want to pay attention to what happens with the U.S. dollar, as that has enjoyed some impressive strength. Dollar fluctuations impact earnings, especially the major conglomerates like a General Electric and, of course, trade and overall commerce. Commodities have been mixed. With crude, we're back over $50 there, while gold has been selling off steadily. Just like the equity market, there will be movements in asset classes across the board, and I think 2017 promises just to be as interesting as 2016 was.
Jill, do have a nice ride into 2017, a nice being with you so far in 2016. Enjoy the weekend holiday into the new year. Jill Malandrino, VOA business correspondent for Channels Television, live there from New York. Let's step into the Middle East, where the markets is closed for today but finished higher on Thursday after a difficult year. Many stock exchanges were hit by low oil prices, recovered in the final few months of the year because of its economic outlook improving. Dubai's market was the best performing in the Gulf in 2016. The index was up 12%, added 0.3%. thereabout on Thursday. Abu Dhabi gained 6% in 2016, climbed about 1.7% on Thursday because Etisalat, the telecommunication giant, rose 2.5%. In Qatar, that's the third. The index added about 1% yesterday in a broad-based rally, but finished this year flattish. In Saudi Arabia, the Tadawul recovered 4% in 2016, but down almost 23% in the year under review. The Tadawul market was down 0.4% on Thursday as the petrochemical stocks pulled back, and say the Saudi basic industry is down 1.1%. The folks in Asia down the Pacific are the ones that will see the new year first in about 2 days from now, but the Asian markets for the final trading day was a little bit weak because of the Wall Street. Hong Kong and Taiwan, however, in the lead. So we've had a mixed Friday for the year. China's Shenzhen Composite was Asia's worst performing index, down nearly 15%. In Pakistan, All Share Index was the biggest winner in that region, 45%. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 finished 0.1%, extending losses after Thursday's decline to close around 19,000. First 5-year run of rises since 1990. Australia's market closed down 0.5%. That's the ASX 200. Meantime, the Australian index had a 7-year gain in the year, while the New Zealand benchmark was near 9% gain in 2016. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng was 1.1% on Friday, up for the third trade session. The Shanghai Composite, as a big index there, was high as 0.24%. Okay, let's move on quickly and take a quick look at the world currencies in 2016. The Zambian Kwacha and the South African Rand were the best performing currencies on the African continent in the outgoing year. According to Bloomberg's survey, the two currencies were the number 6 and number 7 best performing in 2016. The Zambian Kwacha was up 11.96%, while the Rand was about 11% better. On the flip side, the two continents' local units were floated in the that's Nigeria and Africa pattern. As moving on to Nigeria and the Egyptian currency, the Naira down about 36.68% in the outgoing year. The Egyptian currency down almost 60%. You see that 58.84%. Among the worst performer for the year was the Venezuelan bolivar and, of course, the Suriname dollar. The Bloomberg report says it was a bad year for any currency going by the name the pound, from the British pound to the Egyptian pound. However, the best performing currencies in the world in 2016 were the Russian ruble, higher by 21.31%, and the Brazilian real, up 20.96%, a shy of the Russian ruble, while the Iceland krona was better by 20.08%. The rest you see there are the metal prices in the year, palladium and silver. We'll be back after the break, taking a look at Nigeria's closing bell with Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka.